Hi planters, welcome back to the Plants and Pilates YouTube channel. This week we're going to teach you how to raise a fig fiddle leaf plant and how to make it grow strong and healthy. Fig fiddle leaf plants come in different maturities or different sizes. For example, this one's just a little baby right now. And then we also have this big mature one right here. Has 3 branches off of it. And then we also have this kind of medium-sized one. So these plants actually take bright indirect light, like most plants. These plants also take and can tolerate different lighting. I always suggest kind of go off the lighting that it was raised in, like the type of environment you got it from. So if it was from like a greenhouse, then you're going to have a little more like bright indirect light. Some fig fiddle leaf trees actually are grown outside, so you can actually have it outside and it's going to tolerate that bright sun. Usually it doesn't, but I would just try to mimic the environment that you got it from. One thing I do suggest though when it comes to lighting is that probably every so often, most likely when you water, I would make sure that you're always spinning your plant, whether that's tiny baby one or if that is a big mature one. I always recommend even just rotating all your plants in general, just so like all of it can grow evenly. Of course, if one side's getting more sun, it's gonna grow a little lopsided. So we don't want that. So try and rotate your plant as much as you can, just so it can grow pretty even and you can have a full lavish plant. Another suggestion I have for this plant is when you rotate it, you can do this. I wouldn't really suggest this for the baby plants. You don't really have to do this, but definitely when they're kind of medium sized to bigger size, to go ahead and like give them a little bit of shake, because when you do this, it's gonna actually promote really healthy and strong root growth, and it's gonna have them be a lot more sturdier, because these do need a little bit of help when they grow taller, just because they end up becoming more like flimsier. Overall, it just really helps the plant grow sturdy and efficiently, and you're not going to have any breakage to the plant, and you get to have it grow taller. So I always suggest that. Now let's talk about watering your fig fiddle leaves. These plants usually like to dry completely out in its soil before you water it again. This also helps because it avoids root rot. For your smaller figs, I always suggest to water them more frequently, just because they're in their little baby stage, so they're gonna grow a lot faster. They're gonna need that moisture and they're gonna need that hydration to grow healthy and strong. Soil and water kind of go hand in hand. If you have really good soil, it's gonna have aeration, which will lead to when you water it, you're gonna have all those like salts and minerals just like flush right out of the soil, including like pests or even bacteria it can help with. So I really suggest really paying attention to your soil. Having aeration within your soil also prevents root rot, which is what we were talking about in the beginning. And it just prevents just having any type of bacteria or just unwanted pests or anything like that. Pro tip, if you think that your fiddle leaf has any root rot, you can just know by, usually the bottom leaves end up kind of like falling like this, and then it will lead all the way up. And then you can also tell if your plant has bacteria, because usually like the ends of the fiddle leaf right here, kind of like the edges, will turn yellow, because that also is from overwatering it. So just keep an eye on what kind of things your leaves are doing. Another good thing to keep in mind is always to take probably like a little damp cloth and like those microfiber cloths and just wipe down your leaves every so often. Just dust them off. This will just ensure that your plant is healthy and happy and it's not having any type of buildup, anything. Remember that the foliage is just where they get a lot of, like where they photosynthesize. So they're gonna have to have it, you know, cleaned off. And these, since they have such huge leaves, look at that, they're just gonna collect a lot of dust. So I always suggest to make sure that you're dusting off your leaves and just keeping your plant happy and healthy, and it also just makes them look a lot better. Fig fiddle leaves are fast growers, so we do want to make sure that we fertilize them. They can grow up to 2 feet every year. They can even grow up to about 6 to 10 feet overall. So we want to make sure that since they are fast growers, we are utilizing that. So let's make sure we fertilize. Since this plant has a lot of foliage, we want to make sure we're using a fertilizer that's high in nitrogen. You can also just fertilize them every so often during the fertilizing season, so that's spring and summer. But always keep in mind that if it seems like your plant is stagnant, it's just not growing, back off a little bit, because sometimes it could just have a lot of buildup in the soil or just something going on with it. The reason why you want to back off a little bit when it's not growing and you're fertilizing it is because this can actually lead to the tips of the leaves, or what I was saying, the edges of the leaves, like I was mentioning earlier, turning yellow, and they're kind of burning a little bit, just because you're fertilizing maybe too much, or you're fertilizing faster than the plant can grow. So just kind of give it its time, watch your plant, make sure again that it's healthy and happy, and then you should be all good. So let's talk about humidity. The average household should have enough humidity for these plants to thrive in. They say about like 40 to 60% humidity for these plants to just be happy. And if you're really concerned about it, you can also get a humidifier. It's not necessary, but if you feel that that's the problem with your plant just not growing or just not doing well, then it always is a great option. So that's the basic care tips for fiddle leaves. They can be a little finicky and tricky at times, but watch them. If they're doing any, like the leaves will tell you a lot. If they're, the edges are burning, or if they're turning yellow or dropping, really look into how you're watering, how your soil is, the fertilizing, and just overall, especially the lighting. We don't want to put them in too bright of light because that can just burn the leaves. We don't want to have them against something too much, against a wall. We want to make sure we're rotating them so they can grow pretty evenly and just sturdy in general. Remember to always shake them. But yeah, it's just as long as you're just paying attention. So yeah, that's basically all you need to know about fig fiddle leaves. If you want any of these, even if you just want to start with a little baby that we have, you can always get them at plantandpilates.com. We have an Instagram, we have a TikTok, we have everything. All our socials will be linked down below, so make sure to follow us there. Make sure to follow us on our socials because we always post what new plants we have every week. We're always posting plant care tip guides, everything like that. We have our blogs every week, so just make sure to keep an eye out on that. Make sure to like and subscribe for more and just to see every week what we're doing. Other than that, we will see you guys next week, and I hope you have an amazing day. Bye!